Hi everyone, today we're going to learn how to make a realistic looking mountain range, including shadows. The inspiration for our project today is an artist named Jen Aranyi. She's an author, an illustrator, and even graphic designer. You could definitely Google some images of her artwork. She makes these beautiful landscapes inspired by where she lives in Maryland, outside of her home. And she has these skies that are exploding with color, and she makes these very realistic snowy pictures with beautiful mountains and trees in it. So she's our inspiration for today. Definitely look her up on the internet. So let's start by making our mountain range, the outline of it. You should be using a pencil, and I like to tell kids the trick of making a realistic mountain is to hold your pencil in your opposite hand, your non-dominant hand. So I'm naturally a righty. I would actually do this project with my left hand. Don't be scared, it's gonna come out great. What it helps us to avoid is those zigzag mountains that you see in cartoons. We don't want that, we want it to look real. I'm gonna start on the right hand side of my paper. I'm going to find the halfway point and come down a little bit. So that's where I'm gonna start to make my mountains. My mountains go up and then they kind of go down. And yes, they're kind of pointy, but not very pointy. And we want to leave some space at the top of our picture for the sky. So don't go all the way, leave some room. Now that I made my mountain range, now I'm gonna put my pencil in my regular hand, my dominant hand, and I'm going to start to make the shadows. So where should the shadows go? Well, the shadows always start at the top of the mountain, so find the tippy top. You're gonna make a zigzag line from the top point of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. So here's my mountain, make some zigzaggy lines, and it meets at the bottom of the mountain. Here's a baby mountain, so I'm gonna do it again. Here's another mountain, top, zigzag, all the way to the bottom. Top, 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 to the bottom, top, 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 to the bottom. Notice that I'm only making the shadows on the left-hand side of my mountain. And this one's going kind of off the page. And you could see all my little shadows there. Once I have the shadows drawn, then I really want it to look like a shadow by filling it in. But I'm not going to color it with my pencil. I'm going to use a shading technique that artists use with marker called hatching. Hatching is actually making a diagonal line that is close together. So here I start on the mountain to my right, and I'm going to make nice thin pencil lines that are diagonal, very close together. And I'm going to do that for every single one of my shadows. Notice my diagonal line is on an angle and it's pointing down towards the left. So each of those hatching marks should do the same thing. Again, hatching is just diagonal lines that are very close together. They're not colored in, but they give the appearance of creating a shadow. That's a great technique to use when you're using a gel pen or a magic marker. Really works nice. Once I have those shadows drawn, then I'm going to add some terrain to the mountains to make it look rough. I want the texture to give that appearance. So I can make some diagonal lines. Again, they could be all different sizes, some long, some short. And that kind of shows the roughness of the mountains. And I'm just kind of randomly drawing them, spreading them out, going across. Then I might want to add in a few more shadows. I want to add some more texture into my mountain. So maybe I have a little shadow there. Maybe I have one here. And again, it creates some depth in our picture, and I think it's looking good. Maybe one over here. Now that I did all my pencil lines, I'm pretty satisfied with my drawing. Now I take my Sharpie and I take my time and I go over all my pencil lines again. We always use pencil first in case we make a mistake, we don't like how it's turning out, and then I can fix the error. So once that permanent marker goes on, outlining everything, then you're going to do the same thing, that hatching technique. Remember, diagonal lines are pointing down towards the left. Make sure that they're close together, but that you're not coloring any areas in. Now, once I do all the markers, then I would take my block eraser and I would go over those marker lines and give it a good erase so that I don't have any lead left on my project. We want to get rid of that. So obviously you're going to take your time and do that. For time purposes, I'm speeding it along. The last step you're going to need is to cut out the mountains. So you're going to use your scissors. When you cut with scissors, you should always use the inside part, like the mouth of the scissors. Think of it like your actual mouth, a human being. The teeth that are in the front, you don't really chew with. You chew with the teeth in the back called your molars. So I would take my scissors, and way inside in the back of my scissors, that's where I cut out my mountains. So take your time. You did such a nice job drawing. You want to do just as good of a job on your cutting. So here I am, almost done, going across the paper. Looks pretty cool. And now you have your mountain landscape cut out, ready to go for the next part of our project. Now the fun part is you turn this over, you actually can have mountains again, just for fun if you wanted to make a second project. But that's part one.